we have the ability to mount a government, which we had before the British came, and we also have the ability to sign treaties. That's why the British signed. That's why British signed treaty with the Alaafin of Oyo. So, what I've outlined, all these proposals, this is my own personal intellectual contributions to the quest for an independent Yoruba state. The next step is to explore practical steps that will take us to reality. Well, maybe I shouldn't call it problems. Maybe I should call it realities, two realities that we need to confront. And this is very important. The first reality is that the Yoruba self-determination movement has no effect. It is almost like a broken record. It's the same chatter, it's the same noise we hear from the same people for this last 2 or more decades. So this isn't new. For the last 2 or more decades, these people, they have no clue what to do. Our so-called leaders, they have absolutely no clue what to do. And what is very dispiriting and very depressing is that they are not skilled enough to appreciate what you are trying to tell them. So, from my point of view, we Yoruba, we must now accept that we have no leaders. We cannot move an inch forward with these so-called Yoruba leaders. We've got to do these things ourselves. And I'll give you 2 examples of why I say we have no leaders. In 2002, we instituted court cases at Ado-Ekiti and at Osogbo. What we were trying to do was to stop the gubernatorial elections that were pending in Ekiti and Osun states. We employed a lawyer, we were in court, we had the first hearing, I think it was the 16th of March in Osogbo and 17th of March in Ado-Ekiti. I think we had 2 or 3 hearings at Ibadan and 2 at Osogbo and 2 at Ado-Ekiti. What did our so-called leaders do? What did they do? Nothing. They sat on their hands, self-absorbed, and effectively they killed that initiative. Because they couldn't really see, they didn't. I'll give you a second example. When Igboho was released from detention in the Benin Republic, what did the so-called Yoruba leaders, what did they do? They only saw it as a photo opportunity, as a PR exercise, an event that we should have taken advantage of. We should have exploited it internationally and politically. We just wanted a photo opportunity. Our Yoruba leaders did nothing meaningful with the release of Igboho from detention. Nothing meaningful that we have. The second problem that we have is that all the various organizations that we've got, and I think there are about 200 of them, they are not legal personalities. That is, if you are not a legal personality, you cannot sue, you cannot go to court. Legal personalities are companies, political parties, organizations, all these sort of groups that are registered with the state. Registration is the only access to the court. Without registration, you can't go to court. So the way that things are looking, the only way that we are going to get our cases to court is via individuals. It's not going to be through organizations because they are not registered. They cannot go to court. So what did we do with the 2002 Ekiti-Osun election court cases? What we did was this. We persuaded in UK, then promised to instruct and pay the lawyer to bring the cases to court, which is what we did. So there are 2, if you like, 2 characters involved in the Osun-Ekiti cases. Then we had Ilana UK that provided money. We found a lawyer, we provided the money to pay the lawyer to take the case to court. So the same is going to happen if you are taking a case to court in the UK, unless your group is registered as a, for example, as a limited liability company or as a charity or something, you cannot go to court. So I've now discussed the various proposals that I've made, and I've said that we have problems of leadership, and we have problems that our organizations are not registered and therefore have no legal personality. You've been talking to us over the past couple of months, 2-3 months. Short and simple. The law created Nigeria. Okay, it's not Nigerian law, it's British law, but the law created Nigeria. The law created Nigeria was not a natural evolution, was not a natural entity. It was created by law. And that's the idea of the court cases that I've outlined previously. Now, if the courts accept jurisdiction, then there are a number of advantages to seeking to uncreate Nigeria by law. There are a number of advantages. Important. The matter of the emancipation of the Yoruba state. Yoruba land and Britain. So when we go to court, that is what we are seeking. That this is a dispute between Yoruba land and Britain. Please sort it out for us. The second advantage is that the legality or otherwise of the very existence of Nigeria as a state will be settled once and for all. Because till today, we don't know how legal Nigeria is. The third advantage is that the matter of the emancipation of the Yoruba state will be resolved by a neutral third party, courts. So the emancipation of Nigeria, of the Yoruba state, the Idaduro of the Yoruba state, which is also very important, is that for the first time, the unsavory behavior of the British in Yoruba land will be revealed. The behavior of the British so far has been hidden, it's concealed. They've written all sorts of funny things. When we go to court, their terrible behavior will be exposed. People assassinated him in 1895. The man who was friendly with the governor of Lagos, Captain Boa, some twap, some idiot, who was the resident at Ibadan, went to assassinate Alaafin of Oyo. All those things will be exposed. Because when we get to court, we are going to ask for discovery. That how did you come to acquire Yoruba land? If you signed a treaty in 1888 that Yoruba land is becoming the owners of Yoruba land, becoming the masters of Yoruba land, all those things that are hidden from us will be exposed because there were dispatches. And if you go to the National Archives in London tomorrow, you will be very, very surprised at the documents that are still there, that are kept there. The 1888 treaty, for example, is handwritten. This is not anything that is totally handwritten, and you can read it, you can photograph it. It's not illegal because I photographed it. And the beauty of what I am proposing or I proposed is that the breach of agreement against the 1999 Constitution could be litigated in London itself. Don't forget, Britain brokered the agreement which made the three regions co-owners of Nigeria. That is, the East, West, and North did not just create Nigeria by themselves. The Britain brokered that agreement. It was on that, the basis of that agreement, that Britain granted independence to Nigeria, which means that Britain owes every single Nigerian a duty of care. But it failed. Britain failed in that duty of care when it acquiesced or accepted the 1966 coup. That's how Britain failed in the duty of care. That is, you are involved in the creation you handed ownership of Nigeria to 3 regions, East, West, and North. That's what you did. You handed it over to those 3 regions. So the 3 regions became co-owners. And when the coup happened in 1966, you accepted it. You accepted it. You are doing business with the people who carried out the coup to take ownership from the people that you agreed owned Nigeria. So, in theory, the 1999 Constitution could be litigated in London itself. The only thing I will say, let me repeat something before I go on about the court cases. You can only bring the court case as an individual or as a group of individuals, a mass action, unless the self-determination organization, or whatever you want to call them, unless they are registered. For example, when we could take any of these legal actions that I've just said, because it's a registered, it is a registered organization, and therefore it is entitled to go to court to sue. Now, the court cases that are, unless you don't accept what I said, that the law created Nigeria, the law will create Nigeria. These court cases are of fundamental importance, and as far as I'm concerned, they have to be pursued. And they could be brought in Britain. But what I'm about to say, I'm not sure, but this is my understanding of the way things work. If you took the case to a small claims track, all right, because they have different types, they are multi-track, small claims track, and large claims track. If you took the case to a small claims track, that is, you say, I'm only interested in money that is under £10,000. All you have to spend is you spend about £1,000 court fees and about £10,000 to a barrister for a court for a hearing of 1 day. So that's about £11,000 that it will cost you to bring any of these cases to the High Court in London. So that's why I've gone the route of personal litigation. And in Britain, you don't have to go through a solicitor to get to a barrister anymore. You could instruct a barrister directly. You can do that if, like me, for example, you are willing to do the research, you are willing to make available copies of the relevant documents. You don't need a solicitor for that. You can do all that yourself. Particularly in this case where there are not many documents that you need to find. I mean, for example, if you are going to court on, say, the amalgamation, you only need about half a dozen documents. You need the treaty that Alaafin signed. You need evidence that it was ratified, because the Alaafin was actually paid money. So, it's yearly stipend for agreeing to the, so that you probably need a photograph of the Alaafin, which I have. You might need the dispatch document on when he was assassinated, which I have. So that's all. That's all you require. When the case now is in court, you will then ask the government to provide you more documents. That's what discovery is. So once you've got a basic number of documents to start the case, which, as I said, is only about half a dozen. The government, the UK government, will have to then produce the other documents because they are the ones who have the documents. Normally, if you lost a case in a civil case, you have to pay the other side the money that they spent. So in addition to the 11,000 that we talked about, if you lost the case, then you will have to pay what the other. So the government, if the government employs King's Counsel and all the, could be 50,000, could be 100,000. But what you do is that because this case is a case of public interest, what you do is you ask the court before you start. You say to the court that, you know, I'm asking for a small amount of money. I'm funding this. I'm bringing the case to court because it is a case of public interest. And therefore, the money that the government spends should be forgiven or forgone. And you'll be very surprised that the court is likely to be sympathetic to that, to say, this is a case of public interest. This matter has to be resolved. I don't have the money to be paying highfalutin lawyers and all this sort of thing. Please, whatever money that the government spends, you know, so each party will be responsible for their expenditure. So whatever money you spend, even if you win, you won't be able to get it from the government. And whatever money the government spends, the government can't get it from you because the case is of public interest. And the good thing about a small claim track is that it normally takes between 6 weeks and 6 months. It's pretty quick. And it takes 6 months, up to 6 months, only if the case is disputed and goes to a hearing. For example, if the government says, yes, we agree what you have said, you know, you are right, and so on and so forth, then the case, there's no hearing. But of course, this is going to go to a hearing. I mean, the British government is not just going to lie down. They're going to come to court and argue. But as I said, they're going to have to produce a lot of documents. One example is who gave Captain Bauer the authority to go and assassinate the Alaafin of Oyo. He was the resident at Ibadan. The British signed a treaty with Ibadan people because when it was suggested that Bauer will come to Ibadan as resident, the Ibadan chiefs, the Olubadanko, refused. The British government then said, oh, no problem. He's not going to do anything. He's like an ambassador. Doesn't do any work, doesn't do anything. And any land that he uses to build his house or whatever, we will pay for it. That kind of treaty will also be part of the evidence that the government will have to provide. So finally, what is the obstacle? So the way that I've said it, you'll be thinking, easy peasy, all I have to do is turn up in court and everything is rosy. Again, I'm not a lawyer, I don't practice law, but I'm going to tell you about my understanding of the law. And my understanding is this. In civil cases in the UK, there's a time limit of 6 years. So from the date that you are injured to the time you have to go to court is 6 years. However, for personal injury, so if you say the 1940, if you say 1940 amalgamation injured me, the time then starts from when you became aware that you have been injured. So although the limitation time is 6 years, but actually it depends on when you discovered that you've been injured. For example, I'm going to use myself as an example now. I became aware of the 1888 treaty in 2001 as a potential source of injury to me. So my discovery was in 2021. Immediately, I wrote a letter before action to Boris Johnson. I wrote to Boris Johnson on the 21st of June 2021 to say, This is the treaty that Britain signed with Yoruba land. What's going on here? When Liz Truss took over from Boris Johnson, I wrote to her as well. And when Rishi Sunak took over, I wrote to him as well. I also wrote to the Justice Secretary. So do you understand that? So when I discovered the 1888 treaty, I immediately informed the Prime Minister of the country that I'm going to sue you. When he disappeared, the next one, I wrote to her as well. When he disappeared, the next one, Rishi Sunak, I wrote to him as well. What that means theoretically is this, that the limitation date for me to bring a civil case against the UK government is 2027. Is it? Or 2026, 2021, 22, 23, 2027. So theoretically, this is what one will have to clear with the court. As I said, I'm not a lawyer. You'll have to clear this with the court. You are going to say, I discovered that I was injured by the 1888 treaty that Britain didn't follow. It injured me. And I now want to claim compensation. And that I would then say to the court that immediately I became aware, I wrote to the British Prime Minister. When it left office, I wrote to the next one. When she left office, I wrote to the next one. So it wasn't that I discovered that I was injured by the non-compliance with the 1888 treaty. I haven't discovered that I was injured. I didn't sit on my hands. I didn't pretend as if nothing happened. I wrote to the Prime Minister to say, what are you going to do about this? So I wrote to 3 prime ministers within a matter of what? 1 year, 2 years? So theoretically, if I go to court tomorrow, I can say I am within the time limit. Anyway, I'm going to stop there and take any questions. Thank you very much for listening. I tried on Tuesday to translate everything to Yoruba, but it was a failure.
But are you going to try it today? I know it will be very difficult. Okay, Eshegani, thank you so much, Daddy, for being part of this program. You have done a lot from over 3 months that we've started this conversation. You have contributed a lot to the struggle. My own question will just go in this way. Since we have like a kind of what am I call it? Ṣé agbára ní kí n pè ní àbí kí n sọ pé a ní agbára láti gbé àwọn wọ̀nyí láti gbé wọn lọ sí ilé ẹjọ́. But before we can be, according to what you said, that we must take them to court and it is lasts for 6 years. Okay, and my question is that within that 6 years, if they didn't answer us or they didn't respond or they didn't take any action, what is the next action that we need to take within that 6 months, within that 6 years?
We go to court. That's why it's called letter before action. In this country, in civil cases, you write to the person you are going to sue. You say, I'm going to sue you because of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. That's what I did by writing to anybody who has access to my Twitter feed at Baasegun, you can read these 3 letters that I wrote to Boris Johnson, to Liz Truss, and to Rishi Sunak, because I published it on Twitter. So not only did I write the letter directly to these people, I also published it so that the whole world could read it, so that the question of so that when we go to court, if we go to court, I can't go to court because I'm going to 11,000 pounds, but that's a different that's a different kind of fish. But if I want to go to court, I can say categorically that when I knew that this treaty existed and that by breaching the undertakings in this treaty, Britain injured me, and I want to come to court, I can do that within 6 years. And as I said, because I started in 2021, because that's when I discovered it, and I wrote to Boris Johnson in June of 2021, I am able to sue the British government anytime I like between now and 2027. And I will still be within. So anybody who has read anything that I have written, for example, can say, yes, on the day that I read this thing written by this bloke, I discovered that I've been injured. I want to come to court. But you'll have to do one or two, just like I have done. Because I've written these letters, it's pretty easy for me to go to court to prove that, yes, when I discovered that I was injured, I didn't just sit on my hands, I got on with it. And I got on with it by writing to the government of the UK to say, look, and actually I forgot there's another thing that I did, let me just write that down. I also contacted Parliament. That's right. I did contacted Parliament. I can't remember what I'm trying to remember. Oh, yes. I petitioned Parliament, yes. I think it was must be 2022. It can't be last year. I also petitioned the Parliament. So from my own, although they didn't accept my petition, the fact is that I did it. So there are 4 things that I could say to the court, that when I knew about the treaty, I wrote to Boris Johnson, I wrote to Liz Truss, I wrote to Rishi Sunak, I wrote to the Justice Secretary. I also sought to have parliamentary petition on it. So I've done 5 things. So I haven't just sat down on my backside doing nothing. I have done 5 things, which means I'm entitled to go to court between now and 2027. Okay, this is theoretical. I mean, I'll have to wait until I have £11,000 before I can go to court. But I've got 6 years to raise the fund. Any other question? Well, again, yes, but if yeah, but straight away. What court will they go to? The people who set up Nigeria, they say, borrowing your words, they say it was a mistake, they shouldn't have done it. And then Nigeria will say what? Don't forget, Soviet Union broke up. Soviet Union that is more powerful than Nigeria, broke up. Yugoslavia broke up. So if the legal edifice upon which Nigeria is built crumbles, and then Nigeria will say, well, who is in Nigeria will say the Yorubas can't live. I mean, this is what I've never understood when we have been talking about self-determination for Yoruba people. Who in Nigeria is going to say you can't go? Every time I've asked this question, I have never got an answer. Who is going to tell you not to go? If the Yoruba Upper today make a declaration of emancipation, who's going to say you can't do it? On what basis? Are we prisoners in Nigeria? This idea that Nigeria can refuse. When the ICJ ruled against us in Bakassi Peninsula, what did we do? We handed it over to Cameroon. With all your chaka.
Now I'm talking about the government.
It was the government of Nigeria that handed when the ICJ ruled that the Bakassi Peninsula does not belong to Nigeria. Nigerian government handed Bakassi Peninsula back to Cameroon. It's going to be the same. If we win in court in Britain, that remember what I said. The law made Nigeria. The law will unmake Nigeria. Simple. If we prove that any of the legal instruments that Britain used was mago-mago, then we are entitled to leave. This is you have brought up a problem that we Yoruba seem to have. Is that we are afraid of something that we don't know whether it's going to happen or not. You know, there is this fear in Yoruba land that you are so I don't know. It's like a rabbit in the headlight, stuck. You know, we have this mentality of being afraid of something that we don't know is going to happen. If Yoruba land today says we are leaving Nigeria, you will leave. There's nothing anybody can do. Who's going to stop you? This is not like 1967 Biafra business.
All right, sir. Let me ask this question. Although it may look funny, but okay, if like was said that the British might say, okay, they made a mistake and that we agreed to go, but if the Nigerian government insists on what do they call it? No, I just forgot the name. Somebody insists on going for oh my god, I forgot.
So I'm saying to you, but
nínú ìyá sọ ìbẹ́ ìfẹ́ ok ìbẹ́ tábà wá yìí sísìn nípa pé ká lọ pẹ̀lú bóyá ká lọ pẹ̀lú bóyá ká dìbò kí mo ti. referendum yes tábà ní kókè o.
This has got nothing to referendum yẹ̀yẹ́ wo ẹ ṣe referendum kẹ́tọ́ the part of Nigeria ni. The idea of referendum has always been nonsense. This is what people who are afraid. This is what they go to referendum. Referendum for what? When we went for to ask for independence from Britain, did we conduct a referendum? No. A referendum is meaningless. I mean, if you look at the Catalans of Spain, they had a referendum. They are supposed to go. Spain said no. Southwest Africa, the Sahrawi Republic, they've had 2 or 3 referenda in which they said they don't want to have anything to do with Morocco. The Morocco won't let them go. And they can't go because the Security Council, because France, that is a member of the Security Council, is preventing these people from leaving Morocco. The United Nations they've had military presence in Southwest Africa for about 30 years. For about 30 years. It's part of the referendum. South Sudan had a referendum. Sudan refused until they had a civil war. So the idea of the referendum, I wrote about this. Anybody who goes onto my Twitter feed, you can read my piece on referendum. Because I wrote about this a while ago. It's a red herring. This nonsense about referendum. Referendum, yeah. The people who didn't sign a referendum to go into Nigeria. You are now asking them, did they want to come out of Nigeria? They never said they wanted to be part of Nigeria in the first place. Now you're asking them if they want to leave an organization that they didn't join in the first place. I mean, you forget that the British did not ask for our consent. They didn't speak to us about before they amalgamated us into Nigeria. And then you are now asking us, oh, well, the thing that you didn't do before, tell us if you want to come out of it. We didn't do it before. Any more questions? Go on.
Okay. In a case whereby some people from part of Yoruba refuse to have their own self-determination, or in a case whereby someone say no, we are not ready to go, and some say we are going, so what would be the next option? Because it might come in that way when some non-native people said, okay, we are not going, we will still be part of Nigeria. Because I think that according to the British, those are the what they will look into. Okay, they have made their own choice, that they made a mistake, so if you like, you should go. Like one of the program that I did with you mentioned whereby our Lord was given an opportunity to choose Yoruba Nation at that time, but he refused to. It's okay, I will go with my brothers. And then at least, according to what you said, the meeting was lasted for maybe 3 to 5 hours. That I will have an opportunity, have last chance to let Yoruba go on his own way, but he refused. He said he would like to go with Hausa and Igbo. If such an act repeat itself, if at all our efforts at the end of the day we have been free and then some said no, we will still remain in Nigeria. So what will be our next option?
Okay, it's easy. Those who say they don't want to go can stay and let be ruled by Fulani. You will have to be mad or stupid to have the opportunity of leaving Nigeria and then you say you are going to stay. I mean, that's just, I mean, somebody will really have to be completely bananas.
Yeah, because people are desperate.
But
because sir, what I'm telling you is that you know that the people are desperate.
Edurono, I've said this before. We who want Yoruba Nation, we are not forcing anybody. There are some who said, oh, the Benin people don't want to go. Let them stay in Nigeria. Who cares? Who's begging them? The Ondo people, some of them say they are not Yoruba. Stay where you are and let the Fulani keep on coming to your churches and slaughtering your people. Anybody who doesn't want to go, let them stay in Nigeria. We don't care. We're not begging anybody to come with us. This is not begging. There's a core of us in Yoruba land who want to go. The Ijesha, the Oyo, the Ibadan, the Egba, the Ijebu, we want to go. And then some group will say, oh, well, we'll remain in Nigeria. We'll remain in Nigeria. And you know, this argument comes up on Twitter a lot, on social media a lot.
Yeah.
People who say they are not Yoruba. Stay where you are. Nobody is begging you to be Yoruba. Nobody asks you to join us. We couldn't care. I personally could not care less. If you want to stay in Nigeria, stay there and let the Fulani kill the whole lot of you. Anybody with any common sense, will say, I am not going, I will stay in Nigeria. Another question I ask people is this: what is Nigeria offering you that the Yoruba land cannot offer you better? A lot of this discussion, it comes from the elites who, because they are getting money, chopping money left, right, because of corruption, they've lost their marbles, they've lost their minds.
Like, okay, sir, let me just...
The Western region is about 50 million.
let me just give you one just like a question, at least a question, but I will just expatiate in a little bit, whereby a woman was asking me at least last year that all his life he has been working for Nigerian, and then it's about to retire, because we have to put those who are working the government, we have to put them into consideration, because those mindset, they don't want to go because of their labor that they have been suffer for Nigerian for a while, and then it is time for them to have their to have their rest and receive their pension. So they would not just ask you, where do you want them to collect their pension, where do you want them to collect their share that they're working for?
Well,
I'm just asking a common question that people used to ask.
No. I am trying to answer the question without being offensive.
Okay, sir.
That's why I'm taking a
little breath.
I don't want to be offensive. I don't want to be offensive.
Thank you, Ashati Shesho. Thank you so much for joining my show.
If you have a pension due in Nigeria, why will Yoruba State not honor it? I don't understand that reasoning. The fact that you have a new state does not mean that you don't honor all the commitments before. If you are retired and you have proved that you've worked for Nigeria and you are retired, of course, the new state will I mean, it's like saying, if you get a new state, are they going to employ the teacher that was there that Nigeria employed before? Of course. The teachers that were there before, the doctors, the lorry driver, the civil servant, they will all be employed by the new state. It's as simple as that.
All right.
I mean, that's why.
Yes, thank you. I'm asking. Maybe this one will be my last question, if we don't see anybody on board. Although we switch, for those who are watching us on StreamYard, we run into double shooting with the StreamYard, so we have to switch into another platform, which that is where we have been running for the past 1 hour now. So we have some people who are watching us in the StreamYard. Please kindly join us on this new stream, because StreamYard has given us some difficult issue about last week. They are cutting our program short down, so that we need to boycott the StreamYard. Now, this is my question, sir. Will be my last question. For those who are working as government parastatal, maybe some senator, some House of Rep, who taking a high portfolio in Nigerian government, if those people don't want us to go, because they might think that they might not have that privilege in a new nation to be a leader, because we already know exactly what their characters and behavior is, then if they be an obstacle to our success, what exactly do we need to do?
We ignore them. Who the hell do they think they are?
So don't forget that they have power, and they have connection, they have money, they have influence.
Excuse me, what power do they have? What power? What power do politicians have? What power do they have? You declare your own nation, you are going, and then the politicians, Nigerian politicians, will say you can't go. On what basis? On what basis? So the politicians are the ones who are now going to determine our fate, because they are chopping, they are corrupt, they are chopping in Nigeria. They don't want us to have our Yoruba land. Remember what I said to you. If the Conference of Oba today declares emancipation of
Yoruba, yes, you said it.
The Yoruba state, nobody can stop it.
You said it, yes, you said it.
Nobody can stop it. And I went through the law the last time. It cannot be stopped. The politicians think they are relevant because they are in charge of the money. When we declare our nation, there is no money for them to be distributing amongst themselves. And you know, if I'm involved in the drafting of the constitution for the Yoruba state, there will be no professional politicians. We're not going to give you money to go and sit somewhere to just talk. That is what Western people do. That's what Oyibo people do. That you a group of you go and sit somewhere, you spend all day talking, yakking, and we pay you plenty of money for it. Why? Why should we pay people to go and sit in one place to be talking to each other? For me, as far as I'm concerned, it is the fear, I think. I think it is the fear of the future, what might happen in the future, that is our greatest enemy. That is our greatest enemy. That people are afraid. We are so used to Nigeria that when you jump from Nigeria, do you not get used to where you go and live? When you leave Nigeria to go abroad, do you not adjust to where you are going? Do you say, oh, yeah, I'm taking Nigeria on my head. I'm taking Nigeria to Italy, or I'm taking Nigeria to Dubai, or I'm taking Nigeria to New Delhi. When you get to New Delhi, you are a different man. You may be doing your shakara in Nigeria. When you get the politician that you are talking about are making banku, and they have 10 dispatch riders in front of them. When they get to London, they go on the bus the same way as I do. They go on the underground railway the same as I do. They don't come here and they be doing shakara in Nigeria. Who cares? Who cares who you are? When they come to see doctors, they see doctors like me. They see people like me. When they come from Nigeria and they are making shakara to doctors in Nigeria, when they get here, they do what I tell them to do. So this idea that these politicians have some kind of, I don't know, power. Power, the only reason they have power is because they have the key to where the money is stored, so they can steal it. The people are talking about pension. When was the last time I have friends who are retired, who are still struggling to have their pension paid years after they've left. I'm talking of civil servants, doctors, people who are in the military, who retired, who have to be begging and bribing to get their pension. Is that the pension you want to be struggling with? When you get to Yoruba Nation, it's a different world. When we get our own country, it is going to be a totally different world. We are civilized people. We're not like these barbarians that the British put us together with. We're civilized people. You have to, people who worked in the old Western region, you should go and talk to them. If you're worried about Nigeria, go back and talk to people who are there in the old Western region. And let them explain to you what life was like. All we hear is all this threat. We won't go with you. We are not Yoruba. We are not. Go on your own. Stay in Nigeria and continue to suffer and be killed. Go on your own. There are enough of us. Okay. I don't want to change their mind. In which way? How? How will Gani Adams stop you from leaving Nigeria? What is he?
Do we okay sorry sir, do we believe that we àwọn sọ pé wọ́n ní òṣùṣù ọwọ́ olú máa ń gbálẹ̀ mọ́ àgbájọwọ́ báyìí ọ̀nà la máa fi ń sọ̀yà sir, those are the people that we need to, although they cannot stop us, but they can be an obstacle sometimes.
How will Gani Adams stop Yoruba?
Okay, all right, thank you. Let me
stop you from leaving.
Thank you. Let me just bring just some, for instance, if like what Onitiri, let me just use Onitiri as a case study. When we started this program, when we started this struggle afresh, it was half a voice movement. Koiki is here, we can bear with my witness, and as we can bear my witness, he have a strong movement. But when Onitiri joined us, we thought that Onitiri will contribute massively to this struggle, but not knowing that it's going to destroy it. Maybe by now, I'm telling you, sir, maybe by now we have done 99% to our Yoruba nation, but Onitiri drag us back more than 50%. Now, just yes, sir. It drag us back. She drag us back more than 50%. Unless we started strategizing ourselves. At that time, every platform was divided into two. Every platform, every individual platform was divided into two. You can have some people like that who have have a kind of influence.
Let me respond to what you have just said, because I was the coordinator of Ilana UK.
All right, sir. Even though I think you to affect Ilana UK also too.
I was the coordinator. I was the leader of Ilana UK when all these things were happening.
Okay.
What Onitiri brought was a quick fix. You guys, you media guys, before Onitiri came, I used to come on your program every week.
Yes.
Different ones. Whether it's you, Dara, Mayegun, all these guys used to invite me to talk on your program. Onitiri came with her quick fix and bang. You all forgot me. As soon as Onitiri arrived, she said she's going to get 5 million signatures. I have had a petition going since 2020. I've only got 11,000 signatures. This woman got 5 million in 1 month. And it never occurred to anybody to ask the question, what magic has he got?
It's media.
What's the magic?
He used media.
Of course, it's you guys.
He used media. Yes, of course. We agree. We agree that he used media.
Yeah, but that's what you wanted to hear, because it was so fast, it was so quick, it was so.
Of course, we wanted to go
vividly. Eduro, I remember vividly when I was telling these people that this is too good to be true. They thought I was okay, he's against this, he's against that. I've been vindicated. This was a con man, a con woman comes along, tells you that everything is rosy. She's spoken to the Queen. She's been to the White House. She's done this. She's done that. She was a fantasist. But because everything sounded so true, one of the you can
networking ti okay.
Yes, I wrote about it.
Àgbọ̀yìn mọ́sá o. Ó rẹ̀ pé nẹ́tíwọ́ọ̀kì yín á gbọ́ yín mọ́ sà. Ẹ̀yà yín wá tí ẹ̀ ń wò wá ń lé ó rẹ̀ pé nẹ́tíwọ́ọ̀kì tí ó ti nẹ́tíwọ́ọ̀kì dáàdì ti ní little bit issue. We are discussing about the roadmap to Yoruba Nation, the Baasegun final thought, which is be the part 2. So at least for the past 3 months now, we have been discussing concerning this program, how we will have our own nation. One of the part segments that we treated is that our Obas have the right under the Nigerian constitution to declare the state of Yoruba Nation. Our Obas, they have the right under the Nigerian constitution. I think they mentioned the constitution section 35 subsection 5 and then section 20 subsection 5, which give the our Yoruba Oba, which give them the authority, or give them the set of the power that they can declare Yoruba sovereignty by Oba. Those àwọn èèyàn dẹ̀ sọ náà pé táwọn ọba yìí tí wọ́n bá parapọ̀ tí wọ́n bá sọ pé àwọn ò ṣe Nàìjíríà mọ́ lónìí pé nobody would stop them. Baba have already said it in one of the of our program that Oba, and then ẹlẹ́kejì ó ní pé tí ọba ò bá lè ṣe, we can force those our king to do so by letting them understand the danger that is within us, that the danger ahead Yoruba if we are still believe that we are one nation. We are not even one nation at all. We are not one Nigeria. They should think very carefully that Yoruba should be a seat from Nigeria. Also, they talk about taking the British to court, because one of our Oba at that time, which is Oba from Oyo, that is Obalato he signed the treaty which was happened before the amalgamation in 1914. That is one of our Oba who signed that treaty. But what we can do is that we can take that picture of that king to court and said we are not aware, and then from that we want our own nation. If the British agree that they did it wrong and that they made a mistake, this will give what 100% power that we can said we are no more Nigeria. We wanted to have our own nation. But it's easy to do in that way if we have one voice, one language, one mindset, and they will speak in the one direction. I think this will be very easy for us. Within the two of our eyes, we can have our nation if we all speak in one force. But we will have a rancor within ourselves. If A is fighting B, if B is fighting A, we might find it difficult. It might even cause a destruction of what we are really fighting for. This struggle is something that we need to focus, and focus on certain things that we need, as it will help us, it will assist us to have our nation as quick as possible. We can have it within 1 year, we can have it within 2 years, we can have it within 3 years, we can have it within 4 years. It depends on how we put our more effort. It depends how we are focused and determined. It depends how we think that our children, our grandchildren should not suffer what we are suffering today. If you have that, and then the youth have a lot of role to play, because this is struggle for the youth. It is not for the headers. The youth have to have their own mindset. Youth have to determine that they want to control their future. They should all remember, we all need to go back to the history. We get an independence in October 1st, 1960, and then on the October 12th, 1960, that is a statement Ahmadu Bello made that the estate called that is the network yẹn ti gbé wọn jáde. I thought of much that the network bring it. Then we will ruthlessly prevent the change of power. That is the statement need to catch us seriously, that they will ruthlessly prevent the change of power. That is number one. Number two, he said we will use the minority in the south to conquer the majority in the west, and then we will not allow. Any part of it is that he said we will not allow them to rule over their future. Then where are we going to? What exactly? No, sir. No, go ahead, sir. I think let me just talk to that. Àwọn ni wọ́n bọ́ta ẹ má bínú ẹ̀yẹn wa tí ẹ̀ ń wò wá dáàdì ní ṣe program pé so ti end ni kò end o. Oh, dáàdì kò end sir. Ó wà program yẹn ò end sir. Mo ẹ wọlé padà. No, it's not end at all. Ẹ wọlé padà. I'm still live, sir. So that's exactly what I'm saying. Now, if we continue in that way, how do we have our own nation? What exactly do we need to do? Where do we need to go to? Who will be our support? Who they need to support? Or we need support from the youth. We need support from our elite. We need support from our hobas. We need support from our king. We need support from our local government. Support from our government also, to our politician, our elite. We need their support to have our own nation. I believe even though if they don't support us, we will still have our nation, because they cannot stop us. This is struggle that everybody have paid a buy price to win, and then we must win it, and then we must have it as it is cost. So they cannot disturb us, they cannot stop him, bring him back. Network ni ni binu network yẹn sáré gbé ń jáde ní sá network yẹn ló yọ yín mo rí bó.
Okay.
So
suddenly I just disappeared. Okay,
yes ẹ jẹ́ kí n gbé yín padà wá sí live.
Okay.
So
yeah, that's fine. Any more questions?
From my own side, I don't have more questions to ask. I don't know from the media, from the outside. I don't say there's any question, because I've asked so many questions concerning this issue of Yoruba, and then we have a lot of things, because people said Yoruba people and Lati were very, very careful, and which is true. Not to cause a warlord after we have our own nation. And also, this is all our head leaders, like Baba Akintoye is trying to make sure that when you have our own nation, we all have the same mindset. We all speak in one voice. We all speak in one language. We all have the same focus. I think this really will help us. So, Daddy, do you have anything to say again?
Look, it's all nonsense. Believe me, it's all nonsense. Get on with it.
In what way, sir?
It is all nonsense. Oh, you want unity, you want it back, you want get the nation first, and then you can discuss what unity, what government you want, what this you want, what that you want. You cannot be talking about what is going to happen in the future if you don't deal with the present.
So we need to deal with the present.
This is what these people talk about all the time. They're always talking about the future. You haven't got there yet. Today is today. Let us get Yoruba Nation first. And then you can talk about how you want it to run. It's not absolutely nonsense to be talking about unity. Unity with who? Your people are suffering all the time. You're talking about unity. People are starving. People are being killed. They are being kidnapped. And then you are talking about unity. What unity? Get your country first and let's get on with it. I find it offensive when people start talking about we have to do this. You don't have to do anything. What you have to do is get out of Nigeria. It is only cowards who talk like that. Only cowards. You haven't got your Yoruba Nation. Then you are talking about, let us do unity, and let us do the unity between who and who. People in my hometown they can't eat. They can't farm because the Fulani are bringing their cows to eat everything. Those who have left university, they haven't got a job. If you're in university, it takes you almost a course of 4 years, takes you 10 years before you can get your degree. And people are talking about, this, that, and the other. Get your Yoruba Nation first. If you're man enough, that's what you should do. You need to stop this nonsense about you want unity, you want to be unity between who and who. Unity between who and who. Stop deceiving us. If you don't know what to do, leave the scene and let people who know what to do it. You need to stop this rubbish about, oh, we want unity between who and who. The Yoruba people have suffered to train you to do whatever it is they asked you to make you an elite. And then you're saying we go back to them to be having unity. They put you there to do this thinking for them, to do this the work for them. That's why we are here. That's why we are privileged. You should use your privilege to get us out of Nigeria. Be united. And all this kind of nonsense. That is what people align. That is the language of the person who does not want to do anything. That's the language. That is the language. People who don't want to do anything, who have no vision, who don't know what to do, they talk this rubbish. Let us have unity. Unity, yeah. When Awolowo, at the age of 31, 32, got us independence.
All right. My last question for today's episode is to ask you, concerning what we discussed about in our 3 or 4 program, that you need to get the views of lawyers to discuss about them, how you would discuss about them, having a meeting with them, and then have the same way of taking this case to court. So how has it been done? Have you started it, sir?
Well, I can tell you, I've only when I put out this thing asking lawyers if they want to join so that we can have a discussion.
Yeah.
There's been only one response. And he's even a retired lawyer. He doesn't practice anymore.
Wow.
That is part of the problem that we Yoruba have. Is that when you have an opportunity to do something, you don't do it. When you, it is simple. You get a group of lawyers, they look at the thing and say, this is now. If I go and employ an Oyibo lawyer, they'll be complaining, oh, well, we are here, he hasn't employed us, he's going to, because you are given the opportunity to take part in this and you refuse to do it. I don't have to beg anybody. I'm not being paid for doing what I'm doing. I'm doing it because I love Yoruba land. So I don't need to beg anyone. If you don't want to take part, we will find other ways of doing it. Part in doing the thing properly, go away. We will find our own way of doing it. I've spoken to this is, when one talk about it, don't let me.
I understand, sir.
That they don't have any Yoruba patriotism at all. I mean, let me finally say this. As I've said, we Yorubas, we have no leaders because they are unable of doing anything. And we need to forget them. They're not capable. All they want to do is to they're leading us nowhere. They've been doing this for a long, long time. They haven't got anywhere. And we are here, yet you're following them. They've been doing this for a long, long time. They have not achieved anything. Gumi is talking to Tinubu. Gumi, how many Yoruba leaders are talking to Tinubu? How many Yoruba leaders are talking to Tinubu today? When Tinubu was standing for election, people like Obasanjo were saying the leaders. Afeni Ferry is saying they want to wait for the court action. These are the people you call your leaders. These are the all useless people. Don't let's waste, honestly, do not let us waste time on all these people because they are not getting us anywhere. The time has come to jettison the whole lot of them. All their organizations, all their rubbish. Gani Adams is fighting with Igbo. On what basis? On what basis? You are the Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò of Yoruba land. Yoruba land is in prison in Nigeria. You are not doing anything about it. You are fighting Igbo, and you call yourself a leader. What year leader is that? And the reason why they do all these side shows is because they don't know what to do. And when you tell them these are the ways to do things, they don't have the intelligence to follow what you're asking them to do. That's the problem that we have. They don't have the skills. They don't have the nuance to deal with this kind of problem that we have. Everybody wants to be leader. Everyone, every one of them, they are leader. How many leaders of the Yoruba people have gone to meet with Tinubu since he became president 9 months ago? How can Afenifere go to Tinubu when Afenifere did not support him? How can Obasanjo go to Tinubu when Obasanjo did not support him? They have this illusion of some kind of, I don't know what is the matter with them, some kind of detribalization, they are one Nigeria, yeah. You have somebody who, for the first time, is going to be a Yoruba leader who is not military, who does not have baggage to be president of Nigeria. And you don't have enough common sense, enough intelligence to say, how do we go and negotiate with this guy? How do we go and negotiate with this guy? You couldn't negotiate with Buhari. Now you have a Yoruba man in place. You don't say, let us send a delegation to him so that he knows what we Yoruba people feel, what we want. You're sitting down there talking nonsense all the time. They've been talking about this for so long. The same story every single time they talk about it. All they do is they elect themselves to this organization. They are head of this, head of that, vice president, vice chairman, this, that, and the other. All marching on the same spot. They're not going anywhere. The time has come for us who are well-meaning Yoruba people to say, this is the way we want to go. And then we get on with it. Those who wish to come and join me to go to court, you're welcome.
Thank you, sir. We really enjoyed today's program. I think we can just give us takeaway message. So,
that's fine.
Takeaway message, sir.
The takeaway message is simple. It's simple. This is a fight we have to fight ourselves. We have no leaders. We have no organizations. We are leaderless group. Let us do this ourselves. Those who wish to join me in going to court, I'm available. We can discuss it. We can see how we are going to do it, and we can get on with it. Thank you.
Gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ bá ṣe pé ẹ ṣetán láti bá wa darapọ̀ mọ́ dáadé ẹ̀yin tẹ́ jẹ́ lọ́ọ̀yà wọ́n wá àwọn lọ́ọ̀yà àwọn set of lọ́ọ̀yà tí wọ́n lè jọ iṣẹ́ papọ̀ láti gbé ẹjọ́ yìí lọ sí ilé ẹjọ́ láti rí pé wọ́n mú Yorùbá wọ́n ní àtòkèrè báyìí òun náà ní olójútì ló ti máa mú ẹkún ẹ̀sùn. So this is a clear call to all our brothers and sisters who have their own professional way in lawyer. Please let us join hand together to fight this cause at one. Yorùbá wọn ní wo ní ká jẹun pẹ́lẹ́ nu ṣùgbọ́n náà wọ́n fún òun náà ni ò jẹ́. Mo kí o bá yín tí ẹ dàpọ̀ mọ́ wa, mo kí o pátá, mo kí o gba àwọn tí wọ́n jọ jẹ́ àwọn ẹgbẹ́ mi ará mi látòrí àṣà tí ṣe àti Ọláyọmí Kóìkì pẹ̀lú Àkàlàmàgbò pé ẹ ṣe púpọ̀. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni mo kí mọ́mí wa tí wọ́n join wa lórí lórí StreamYard kó tó di pé ó cut wa off mo kí ẹ̀yin náà pé ẹ ṣé gan ni thank you so much for joining and àwọn tó dẹ̀ join wa náà ní orí other platform tó kò mo kí yín pé ẹ ṣé tó bá tó dijọ́ Tuesday ẹ tún pàdé wa lórí àkànṣe ètò míì nígbà táwọn àtẹ̀jọ́ níbi tí a mọ̀ sí ìmọ̀ràn àgbà ẹ̀rí báyìí ìmọ̀ràn àgbà ó ṣe pàtàkì fún èmi àti yín láti wípé kí a gba ìmọ̀ràn àgbà mo sì mọ̀ pé lágbára Ọlọ́run ohun tí Yorùbá ń fẹ́ ní ti dáadáa Olódùmarè yóò fún wa lágbára Ọlọ́run a rí ilẹ̀ Yorùbá a ó rí gbà ní ayọ̀ àti àlàáfíà ní agbára Ọlọ́run Olódùmarè yóò sì fún wa gbà ó kí bàbá wa tí wọ́n bá wa ṣàbátẹ̀rẹ̀ ètò yìí ìyẹn Ọ̀túnba Baasegun Olúṣọlá òní pé thank you so much daddy lábá Ọlọ́run yóò bá wa jẹ́ kí ẹ pẹ́ fún wa a rí yín pẹ́ because we are gaining from your own experience at least I've learned a lot concerning constitution from your own side and then nǹkan tí a mọ̀ tẹ́lẹ̀tẹ́lẹ̀ gbogbo wa náà ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní màá rẹ̀ pé léyìí ó náà ni yóò ṣe wá láǹfààní láti pé kí a mọ ibi tá a ti ń bọ̀ ká dẹ̀ mọ ibi tá a ń lọ bẹ́ẹ̀ sì ni ẹ sọ̀rọ̀ kan wípé we don't need to wait for anybody there is no unity in fighting for your freedom get it first when you get it those who are not supporting will definitely support you at the end of the day ọ̀nà Yorùbá sọ pé wọ́n ní ìbẹ̀rù kì í ṣoníṣẹ́ ẹni tó bá ṣe dópin ọ̀nà ni agbala it make me remember that you only one person can work for his money you can continue work for even though if you are having a dirty job you call your family please let us go and do the job they will say no they are tired but when you go alone fighting alone get the job alone and at the end of the day they pay you your salary you can't spend it alone that is why everybody wants everybody to be part of the game so that everybody will feel the pain and they will always feel the joy at the same time but at least we cannot force anyone who don't want to go with us so we can always go by ourselves and have a glory of what we are doing to let them put them in a shame and then when we have it is better if they want to join us they will if they don't they will stay in Nigeria and have it a Fulani cut their head off that's exactly what Baba is saying that we don't need to wait for anybody if you wanted to move first when you move those who don't want to move they will move with you when you see that you have progress when they see you on the top when they see you that you are going faster than what they think of they will definitely follow you that is what the message for today's and then we thank everyone for joining us for this program this is where we draw the curtain of today's program my name is Omoboriowo thank you so much see you on Tuesday on another episode Imoran Agba yóò jẹ́ wá kalẹ̀ o ó dìgbà.
Nígbà wo lẹ fohùn ṣọ̀kan nígbà wo lẹ panupọ̀ sọ̀rọ̀ nígbà wo ni bẹ́ẹ̀ ni yóò jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ ni bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́ yóò wá jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́ Yorùbá àtẹ̀yìn bàbá àwọn yìí ẹ̀ ń sùn o ẹ̀sùn ẹ̀ ń ṣáàṣù o níbi ẹ̀sùn dé ẹ̀ ń ja òun pa ẹ̀tún hun ẹ̀ ń rún bẹ́ẹ̀ bá hàn nígbà wo ni tẹ̀m̀bẹ̀lẹ̀kún ọ̀tẹ̀ kẹ́ni má ní ìjà ipò ìjà ìlú yóò dópin láàrin yín gan-an ogun tá ń bá yín jà ogun ẹ̀kúlé ń bá yín jà èyí fúnra yín tó ń wá ń kọjú ìjà síra yín etí ọmọ ṣe ẹ kó kú kódà náà yàrá.